Hello, this is Heather from The Reading Mama, and today I'm going to continue my Motherhood in Literature series with book recommendations I would give my mom friends. So, full disclosure, I have just filmed this video, but forgot to push start on the video. So yeah, we'll see how this goes the second time. Also, my family is getting over a horrible stomach virus, hence the messes. So forgive me for that. Just real life as a mama here. I'm going to bring you some book recommendations in various genres that I would give my favorite, give to my friends, my mom friends. And I'm just going to go through it by genre. And these are not necessarily the best. These are the ones I pulled off my shelf that I happen to own. There are some great books that I don't own that I would also recommend. These are just the ones I happen to have on my shelves. All right. So first up, I have biography. If I was going to recommend a biography about a woman, surprisingly, it's not a mom. I mean, I think she becomes a mom. I don't know. That's not part of this story. But Evidence Not Seen by Darlene Deibler-Rose is a phenomenal biography of a Christian missionary in the Pacific Theater. I want to say they're in, Dutch East Indies. So back a day, because that doesn't exist anymore. But her and her husband go to the East Indies, where they are missionaries when World War II breaks out. They become prisoners of war, and this highlights the story of what happened in her life as well as her husband's, and just the testimony for God. If you love The Hiding Place, then you need to read Evidence Not Seen by Darlene Deibler-Rose. If I was going to recommend a classic, there are so many great classics out there, but I decided let's grab Jane Austen. I'm going to recommend Northanger Abbey. I feel like not enough people read this one, and it is really fun, lighthearted, and kind of silly. And it is very much kind of got the gothic feel to it, but it is just, I feel like it's the fun one. Some of her others are fun-ish, but this is the one that I love. So that's the one I'm gonna recommend. If I was gonna recommend a mystery thriller, I actually have two recommendations. One I'm gonna just tell you about because I don't own any of the books. I've been listening to them, and it's a brand new author to me this month. And that is Jamie Jo Wright. I have really enjoyed her Christian mystery thrillers. I've read two of them. One was better than the other. The one I recommend would be The Curse of Misty Wayfarer, which gives ghost story vibes, but I promise you there's no ghosts involved in it. But it does have those thriller things, and it does talk about anxiety and some other things along those lines. So, check out content considerations about those. If I was going to pick one off my shelf, though, I would pick Agatha Christie, and you really can't go wrong. I have loved all my Agatha Christie books for the most part that I've picked up. And Then There Were None is my favorite that I own. And just because, as it follows the 10 Little Soldiers poem, and these 10 different visitors are knocked off one by one on an island where they are basically trapped. And it is just, it keeps you guessing. I actually am really bad about figuring out the Agatha Christie books. If I was going to recommend a historical fiction, I have two. For the World War II era readers, I'm going to recommend Salt to Sea by Ruta Sepetys. I would recommend anything by Ruta Sepetys. But this one, Salt to the Sea, I think does a great job. It's at the end of World War II as the Russians are coming in and people are trying to escape to safety. And it follows several, four different people, and there's just a lot going on in this. It does have some content consideration if you know anything about this time period, that the Russians, when they came in, were not the benevolent helpers coming to save them. And there is a young girl who is brutalized and taken advantage of, and that is part of the storyline. So keep that in mind if that's something that's going to concern you. It does not get into it. It's not graphic. It's just kind of mentioned in passing. Because it affects her future, but just so you know that is going on. It is heart-ripping. It is heart-ripping. It is just a gripping story. Ruta Sepetys has amazing characters and amazing storylines, but your heart will be broken as you read it. But I do highly recommend. I also recommend, if you're looking for a different type of historical fiction, The Nature of Small Birds by Susie Finkbeiner. Susie Finkbeiner is rising as one of my favorite authors. I absolutely love it. This follows 3 different timelines, all within one family. And okay, before you at me, because one of the timelines is in 2013, the others are in the 40s and 70s. Okay, so it's not, or 70s and 90s. I don't know. What are the time periods? Anyways, they are 2013. I keep finding Bruce's. 1988 and what's the other one? 75, 88, 75, 2013. So this is more modernish historical fiction. And so I thought that this was just phenomenal because it tells a love story. It tells a love through adoption. It tells a story of love in a family, between siblings, between parents, between aging parents, between couples. It is so beautiful. And honestly, Bruce, who is the 2013, his story of his love for his wife is just, wow. It is beautiful, and I absolutely loved it. It does have Christian tones in it, but it is not overtly Christian, and I highly recommend it for everyone. If I was looking for biblical history, there's so many great options, and I know I've come on here and said that I don't read a lot of biblical history because a lot of it is not done well. That I've had to eat crow because I have found some that is really good, and one that is really good is Tessa Afshar. I have loved every single book I've read from her, and they are phenomenal. This one is the one I would give to someone, but I would give it with a caveat. It follows the story of Rahab. So if you know the story of Rahab in the Bible, she doesn't have the best background. And it does get into it, not in a gritty, gruesome kind of way, but the effects of it, the effects of the people that they worshipped there in Jericho, the effects of her occupation, and it kind of, it's all fictionalized through Tessa's taking that basic knowledge of what her occupation was, and then the people coming in to Jericho, the Israelites coming in and taking over. But then it follows along after they go with the Israelites, and then she eventually gets married, and what happens through her marriage, because she's in the lineage of Christ. Isn't that amazing? And so it goes on to kind of tell about the marriage and how like, I don't know, it was so beautiful. It was just wonderful. But it is a little bit more intense. If you want one that is a little less intense, try in Fields of Grace, which follows the story of Ruth. But I absolutely loved Pearl in the Sand because of it being so deep and rich and beautiful, despite the hardships of her life. If I was looking for a cozy fantasy to recommend, I would recommend Wormwood Abbey by Christina Bear, which is just great. And so the first book is really cute and fun. Book 2 is not my favorite. Book 3 and 4 get into some topics that are a little more intense. Like, I'm not going to let my teenagers read it just yet because I want them to be a little more mature before they read them. And book 5 was just phenomenal. But book 5 is like 3 times this size, just so you know. If you're a person like me who starts a series and has to finish it, it's a little bit of a commitment. That said, you read it really fast. Wormwood Abbey is a cozy fantasy set in Victorian England, and you follow Miss Edith, who is, her father comes into inheritance, and they move out to the state, and they find out that their family has this great responsibility, and she finds out her role in it, and it is just beautiful and sweet. This has so many great homeschool mom vibes. It has a lot of literature drops. That's what all my little tabbies are. What did I tab? Did I mark them, or did I just tab them? Sometimes I say. So I have funny things, literary, school, and good thoughts. And it was so fun to read, and it was a quick read. So cozy fantasy, highly recommend. If I was looking for high fantasy, I forgot to grab it. I would grab Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Hear me out. If you are a high fantasy person, then you've probably already read it. Yeah, it's a heist story set in a fantastical world where they try to take over from an evil leader, and all while trying to get rich with a mythical substance, mineral, element, we're gonna go with element. And yes, they have special powers and all kinds of things. I love Mistborn. It's funny, it's beautiful, and like, did not expect to see balls in that first one. There were balls that happen. Really love Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson for high fantasy. If I was gonna do sci-fi and recommend for a friend, I would recommend probably Recorder by Kathy McCrum. I really loved this series. Some people don't. I really enjoyed that. It was fun, it was clean, set in outer space, and basically you have a young girl who has no name. She's just the recorder. She's been grown up to record events, so that things are not biased, right? So that way the world knows what actually happened. And she's sent to a planet where they're supposed to recover some things where things went awry, and they're attacked by giant bugs, and there's some kind of mystery, and everybody's dead, and people almost die, and it gets a little chaotic. And in the process, the recorder this is her first actual event, and first time that she's interacted with normal humans that are not recorders. And so she starts learning about the world and learning about other things. And a lot of things happen to her personally that force her to reevaluate what it means to connect with humans and connect with other people and what the importance of relationships are. There is a slight romance in like the throughout, but I mean, when I say slight, it's like a paragraph. I mean, it's very subtle. The story is following the recorder and the world that they're in and the Children Consortium. So I really recommend that for a great introduction to Christian science fiction. If I was looking for just a fun book to recommend, it would be Tress of the Emerald Sea, which is Brandon Sanderson, and I would say this is either sci-fi fantasy, because you are on a strange planet. And if you've read Lemony Snickets with your kids, then you're gonna love this, because I feel like this one follows very much the same trajectory of just ludicrous, witty, and bizarre, because you're following Tress, who lives on an island, and you might see she has a cup there. She loves mugs. But Tress is in love with the Duke's son on the island, and he goes off on a trip and he disappears, and she doesn't believe the Duke for a second about what happened. So she goes and sets out to rescue him. And along that, there are many, many adventures. They sail on spores instead of on water, and these spores, if you come in contact with them, they can have huge repercussions. And along the line, there's just a lot of fun characters. And I really loved all of this. I have my teenager reading it currently, and she very much needed some fun, because it really is just a funny story. The audiobook is phenomenal as well. I'm going to read you this. On the back it says, an original fairy tale that will delight fans of William Goldman's The Princess Bride and Neil Gaiman's Stardust. So if you like Princess Bride, if you like Stardust, this is very much in that line. I think the wit and humor is very much like Lemony Snicket's, just for ludicrous fun and silly. So those are the books I would recommend to my mom friends if they were looking for a book in those various genres. If you have a book recommendation that you would give to your mom friend, drop it below, tell us what genre, and a little snippet about it so that other people can find those amazing books. And I hope you have a happy Mother's Day coming up in about a month, and hopefully you don't get this terrible stomach bug and mountain of laundry. Have a blessed day.